Imagine your inbox, breathing at 6 a.m. Imagine it sorting you before you're even awake. Imagine replies getting drafted without you. Now, the next step, not writing, acting, not science fiction, just the next default. A meeting gets scheduled, an approval gets nudged, a task gets created, a customer gets routed. Here's the part people miss. You don't see the decision, you just inherit the outcome. Wrong tone, and the relationship goes cold. One missed line, and the thread flips meaning. Deadline shifts, the system guessed wrong. You don't notice, it feels like efficiency. Efficient is just invisible with better branding. They sell it with a smile. That's how control disappears, not with a headline, with defaults. Sunstein and Thaler nailed it. The default is a decision. Wearing a mask. When your inbox stops asking and starts deciding who's actually in charge. If an AI started triaging your inbox tomorrow, would you trust it? Because this isn't just email overload anymore. This is your inbox turning into a control panel, where decisions get queued, approvals get nudged, and the whole day quietly gets routed. Now, that routing isn't always human. It's increasingly AI-handled, summarizing threads, pulling out action items, drafting replies, prioritizing, and pushing work into other systems. That's the shift. Let that land. I'll be honest, my gut drops because if this is version 1, version 4 won't ask permission. Version 1 still asks nicely. That's the cute part. So yes, this is really about two ways people lose control in the future of work: panic or neglect, while invisible automation quietly takes the wheel. Stay with me to the end, and you'll walk away with one clear map, where responsibility actually sits when your inbox becomes a semi-autonomous queue. If you work on a screen, emails, meetings, docs, support tickets, sales threads, whether you're a manager, a student, a freelancer, a creator, or just trying to stay relevant, this is the kind of shift that quietly decides how your next few years feel. Because for some people, this shows up as AI anxiety. Over-monitoring, fear-driven paralysis, constant checking. For others, it's AI apathy. Ignore it. Leave defaults on. Don't audit anything. And both paths end in the same place. Your workflow changes without your permission. Right there. During the 9 to 5, one major workplace report framed it like this. People get interrupted every few minutes by meetings, emails, or pings, until it feels nonstop. And you can feel it. Your attention gets sliced into confetti, not the celebration kind. And your inbox is where that confetti turns into decisions you're still responsible for. Now here's where it gets interesting. Email is becoming machine-readable work. Andreessen said it plainly. Software is eating the world. This is what it looks like in your inbox. Not just messages, not just text, context, relationships, deadlines, authority chains. So the shift isn't AI helps you write, it's assistance, sliding into delegated action. And when it goes wrong, your name pays. It stops being a keyboard helper and starts acting like a silent operations layer. Scheduling, filing, routing, drafting, updating, tiny clicks collapse into an automated flow. And that flow starts in your inbox, quietly signing off on outcomes before you notice. And the moment that happens, a new question shows up, fast. Who owns the call? Here's the cold part. When it goes wrong, nobody blames the agent. Your name takes the hit. Sit with that. They'll call it streamlining. You'll call it your problem. Because once an agent can draft and route, ownership becomes blurry across you, IT admins, vendors, security oversight, and the downstream people impacted by those automated actions. You're probably thinking, okay, but isn't this still just drafts and summaries? Sometimes yes, but the battleground is the same place either way, your inbox, because it's the default queue for decisions. That's why this shift is so hard to see until it's already normal. You'll approve outcomes you never saw. Let's name the two failure modes clearly. AI anxiety looks like refreshing, double-checking, rewriting everything, hovering over automation like it's a live grenade. It feels safe, but it quietly burns hours. AI apathy looks like ignoring the rollout, never touching permissions, assuming someone else is handling it, and letting invisible defaults choose for you. It feels calm, but risk accumulates silently. Here's the uncomfortable part. The inbox rewards both behaviors. Short-term, anxiety gives you the illusion of control. Apathy gives you the illusion of peace. Meanwhile, the system keeps moving. And in your inbox, moving means decisions get made with your name attached. Back in 2012, a major consulting estimate said interaction workers spent a big chunk of the work week managing email. Not building, not thinking, managing the queue. That number lands differently when the queue can now act back. Now, tools are racing to live inside that queue. In Microsoft Outlook, there are features framed around prioritizing your inbox, assigning emails as high, low, or normal priority alongside delivery. In Gmail, summary cards can appear at the top of longer threads and update as replies come in. Outside the suites, you've got email clients pushing AI summaries and drafted responses, and automation platforms packaging agent-style triage as a core building block. A default reroutes work before you notice. But don't let the tool names blur together. The pattern is the real story. The thread gets read, it gets compressed into a summary, actions and owners get extracted, replies get drafted, or the work gets routed, and the day gets pushed somewhere else. Your inbox stops being where work arrives and becomes where it gets executed. That's the point. And this is where shadow agents enter the room. Not science fiction, just unsanctioned or poorly governed automations operating inside real work accounts. Email, docs, calendar, outside explicit organizational oversight. It's shadow AI that can actually act. Your inbox becomes a place where control leaks, one helpful default at a time. Imagine how this feels emotionally. You open your inbox and it feels never-ending, because modern work is fragmented, ping-driven, and constantly interrupting you. And then you add a layer that can summarize, prioritize, and draft faster than you can read. Suddenly, the pressure flips. You become the bottleneck. Around minute 3, here's what most people miss. When automation starts routing work, it starts shifting who gets to decide what and when. Not in a dramatic headline way, in a quiet, operational way. Who gets notified first? What becomes urgent? What gets deprioritized? What gets turned into a task? What gets scheduled? That's not productivity, that's power. I hate how quiet it is, power that rewires your day without ever announcing itself. So the question, who owns the call, isn't philosophical, it's operational. If an agent drafts a reply that changes tone, who owns that relationship? If it routes a customer email into the wrong pipeline, who owns that miss? If it schedules a meeting based on misread intent, who owns the downstream chaos? And yes, there are real security wrinkles here. If an AI system reads untrusted text, it can be manipulated. Reports have described prompt injection tricks, hidden instructions inside emails that try to steer what the AI outputs. Your inbox becomes a target because it's being read by machines. One poisoned email can steer your decisions. And I hate that the scariest part is how normal it'll feel. I'll be honest. There's a moment in this shift that makes me uneasy. Not because AI can draft a sentence, but because people stop reading the originals. That's automation bias, overtrusting the summary. The summary becomes reality, even when it omits nuance, or gets manipulated, or just gets it wrong. And when you stop verifying, efficiency starts quietly eating accountability. Remember that morning we imagined your inbox breathing before you do? That's the emotional truth of the transition, not replacement. Rerouting. If you zoom out, you can see why suite vendors are pushing inbox-native AI so aggressively. It reduces friction by embedding the assistant directly where decisions happen. And automation vendors are packaging agents as building blocks because email is the highest leverage input stream in knowledge work. It's where coordination lives. You're probably wondering, so what's the winning move here? Panic or ignore? Neither, because both are just reactions to the same blind spot: governance, not bureaucracy. Governance as in permissions, review points, auditability, and clear human-in-the-loop boundaries when it must ask you first. Where the machine can act, where it must ask, and how you can see what it did. And to keep this grounded, this isn't you need a massive enterprise stack. Most people will experience this one tool at a time, one connector at a time, one permission prompt at a time. Pricing and tiers can change, so the specifics always move, but the pattern doesn't, the pattern holds. Now here's the scary good part. Calendar and email convergence. If an agent can interpret intent, set up a meeting, follow up, deadline, approval, it can reduce the back and forth coordination load. That sounds like relief, and it can be. But it also means the system is now translating language into action. At this point, ask yourself, when your inbox becomes a control panel, do you want invisible automation deciding what matters first? Or do you want explicit boundaries deciding that? Because one of those options is a choice, the other is a default. There's a weird irony here. The more chaotic work becomes, the more tempting it is to hand the chaos to something else. And right in the middle of that temptation, leaders are already using a new phrase: digital labor. One major workplace report said many leaders feel pressure for productivity to rise, and a large share say they expect to use digital labor to expand capacity in the next 12 to 18 months, which means more inbox decisions will be executed by systems, while the rest of us inherit the fallout. More work will be executed by systems, not people. Blame shifts, even when you didn't act. So here's the clarity burst. Simple, no jargon. AI anxiety and AI apathy are two ways to lose the same game. You either burn your time supervising every move, or you stop looking and let invisible defaults choose for you. Your inbox is where that loss becomes real, because it's where your day gets decided. Now, the only reason shadow agents feel spooky is because they're invisible. The danger isn't that automation exists, it's that automation exists without shared rules, without oversight, without clear accountability when something goes sideways. So when you hear, agent can reason, research, and take actions, don't picture magic. Picture the mundane: drafting, routing, updating, scheduling, and then ask the only question that matters. Whose name is on the decision when the system acts? Around minute 9, let's pull the thread tight. Still with me? Then you've seen both traps up close: the anxiety of losing control and the apathy of being too tired to care. And that's exactly how the future of work game gets lost. Quietly, through your inbox, one delegated action at a time. So here's the question I want you to answer down below. If an agent is drafting, routing, and nudging decisions inside your email, what would you demand before you let it run? Hard limits? A visible audit trail? Or approvals that can't be skipped? And don't answer like it's abstract. Run tomorrow morning in your head. You're half awake, you skim a neat little summary, you tap approve, and your identity becomes the rubber stamp. The message lands cold. The wrong person gets looped in. The customer gets rerouted. Nobody blames the system, they blame you. That's the trap. Convenience doesn't remove responsibility, it hides the handoff. So what's your line in the sand? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Remember that inbox we imagined, breathing before you do? The next power shift won't show up as a memo. It'll show up as one quiet click you didn't realize you made. Now it's the default, and you feel the echo. If you want the hidden handoffs to pop, rewatching later usually reveals what you missed. Watch how this idea connects to everything we're building next.